Okay, well, how many O-linemen do we have? Okay, well, who's going to play guard? Okay, now, do we have enough corners? Well, I don't know. Well, this guy, he played a little corner in high school. Other than that, it's been great.
That was Mike Leach and all his brilliance in press conferences. This is Under the Arc Sports. I'm Eric.
And I'm David.
And it's the regular season finale. Mizzou is headed to Starkville to take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Before we dig into that, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and find us on Facebook and Instagram. Some housekeeping. It's not pretty for the Mizzou defense. Head coach Elia Drinkwitz literally said in his press conference, the entire defensive line is questionable for this game. I don't know what to make of that, except that it could be ugly. Similarly, Jarvis Ware, he was out against Georgia. He's out for this game. Tyree Gillespie also out for this game. And that's before you even look at Nick Bolton, who's playing hurt. And in the Georgia game, was not himself. Against a team that throws the ball 50, 60 times a game, that's bad news, Dave.
Yeah, and this is not what you would call a high-powered offense, so I guess that's one bonus. However, Mizzou's weakness right now, especially with the line and secondary issues going on, is Mike Leach's teams are passing teams. They average 313 yards a game. They haven't scored more than 24 points since their opening game, which was LSU, where they scored 44. The other interesting point is they only average about 23 yards a game running the ball, and that's over the season they have 146 attempts for 209 yards total. So with the D-line issues, that might actually benefit us. I really don't know how to analyze it with how beat up our defense is, though.
Yeah, it's going to be a complete crapshoot. Yeah, the entire defensive line might be able to go out there and play somewhat like themselves, or we might be seeing some offensive linemen go and give defense a try. In which case all bets are off for this game. But yeah, like you said, Mississippi State, despite being dangerous given the injury situation, they are just 2-7. They beat LSU in that opening day shocker, and they beat Vandy 24-17. They lost everything else. They seem to like scoring 14 points. They've done that like 4 of their games. KJ Costello was the opening day starter for the Bulldogs. He decided to keep throwing it to guys wearing different colored jerseys than him. So in the Bama game, he got yanked after starting that game 4 of 11. And Will Rogers is the starter now. He's thrown, in like 4.5 games, he's thrown 6 interceptions, I want to say, which is fewer than KJ Costello. And he's he's completing about 70% of his passes. So that's pretty effective. The key for me for the Missouri defense is more on the coaches than on the players. If this team is as banged up as it sounds like, they've got to help the players out, what coaches do. And to me, that means getting creative with blitzes. I really liked how Missouri brought guys out of the secondary in the South Carolina game. That doesn't seem to be Ryan Walters' forte, but that's got to come from somewhere. You can rely on Mississippi State not running the ball more often than not. So you can blitz. You can blitz a linebacker and not worry about it being a counter to the other side. And I think you're going to have to do that to help out Missouri's secondary, whether it's, Rakestraw and Jalen Carley's couple of freshmen, or if you got, you're like a dime package like we were talking about before. These guys are going to be running, covering a lot of routes. They need help, right? That's my key. Defensive play calling.
Yeah, so my key for our defense, in this game, and I'm using last game as kind of an example of what not to do, is get off the field. And what I mean by that is make a third down stop. There are numerous times where Georgia was playing third and long, and they even had some third and shorts there too, but they would complete like a 10 or 15-yard pass downfield to get a first down. Especially against a passing team, if you get them third and long, you can't give up a 15-yard pass play. They need to get off the field so they can get rest because they don't have the backups right now. They're very thin on defense. So my key for this game is for the defense to get 3 and outs and get off the field.
Yeah, when you take a look at when Mizzou has the ball, well, I think they're going to be glad to see somebody besides Georgia lining up against them, particularly the offensive line. It was bad. Larry Roundtree came into that game, tearing everything up, and he averaged 1.5 yards a carry. It was pitiful. Between the tackles, Missouri could do literally nothing. And, well, that has to change. It goes without saying. Connor Bazelak felt some pressure, consistent pressure, really for the first time in a long time. And it affected his decision-making and the balls that he threw. So, the offensive line just has to be better. You take a look at Mississippi State, Dave, their defense is actually not that bad.
And I think it's been improving as the season's gone on. They're 4th in total defense with 384 yards a game. They're 4th in rushing defense and 9th in passing defense. They have 19 sacks out of their 9 games they've played too. So I think if you take a look at how they've played, I think they've been improving every game. So it will be a tough matchup for our offense. However, I think if they can get a consistent game going, kind of like they did against Kentucky, and give our defense a chance to rest while sustaining long drives, I think that would be what would help them out in this game. And that's actually going to be my key for the game for our offense, is to sustain long drives, to give our defense a rest, because they're going to need it.
Yeah, you're right. With the secondary for Missouri probably being a track meet, they're going to get tired. As for my key for the Missouri offense, when we were organizing this video, I said it was going to be run blocking for the offensive line, getting good push. As we film this, I've changed my mind. I think it's going to be Bazelak and the wide receivers. I think they need to be effective in the passing game. Even if it's not shots down the field, which has been a consistent issue this season, I think they need to move the chains with the passing game, because 19 sacks, 9 games, it's decent, but Missouri's offensive line has actually been pretty good in pass blocking. Even in games where they weren't that great running the ball, they were still good when healthy in pass blocking. And as you mentioned, the Mississippi State defense is 4th in the conference against the run, but they are 9th against the pass. They are susceptible to it. So I want to see Bazelak throw the ball, Kiki Chisholm, Damian Hazelton. Let's see it. Towski Dove, if he's healthy enough, let's see him. Maybe a little Boo Smith. I think those guys are going to be the key. Now, as for my prediction in this game, I think it's going to be an ugly game. As ugly as my clothes after my daughter puked all over me a couple hours ago. Just nasty and ugly. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think Missouri will find a way to get it done, despite all the injuries. I think Mizzou gets out of Starkville with a 26-20 win.
As for my pick, I think it's going to be a little bit more of a shootout type game, just because of how depleted our defense is. I think our offense will have to step up and make some plays and, again, sustain drives or even just make a big play here and there. I think Mizzou will end up winning this game 35-31, but I think there will be more points than people think for this game. Anyway, that's it for this week's Under the Arch Sports. Again, please remember to check out our Facebook and Instagram pages, and thank you for watching.
See you guys next time.
See, and then your gloomy settings, if you have Coke, then that'll cheer things up. It's not going to solve the whole thing, but just, one day you'll be able to have that Coke outside your little cubby holes, and will no longer be a slave to the green light the whole time. All right, I'll see you guys.